Happy 2024, Lashpreneurs. We're kicking off, gosh, this is the now 7th year of the Lessons of a Lashpreneur show. Holy cow. I never thought when I started this I'd be 7 years in. I don't know what I was thinking back then, but here we are, almost to 300 episodes. And I'm so excited to kick off this year with you. And today's episode, we're going to be talking about how to approach your business in 2024. Specifically, what I want to touch on is the difference of how you're showing up in your business, whether you're showing up as the underpaid, overworked employee in your business, or if you're really stepping into your power as the business owner. That really is about your perspective on how you even look at your business and your role in the business and your part in the business. Because a lot of people get into running their business in this industry by accident. I call it BYOB, business. No, business owners by accident. Boba. I call it Boba. BYOB is something else. That's what I did on New Year's. Boba. So business owners by accident, which means there's not a whole lot of great opportunities as employees in our industry, which I'll get into next week and why I think salon suites have just started booming. But essentially, a lot of you just kind of fell into this, that there weren't many opportunities to make money working under somebody else, that you thought, okay, I'll go out on my own and I'll give it a whirl. You would be listen to this podcast if you weren't interested in running a business. However, most of you wouldn't choose to run a business if you didn't have to, or if you didn't feel like this was the only way that you can make an income and a living off of running a business. And so, and I say that very respectfully, most of the world doesn't run a business, right? Most of the world is very conditioned and taught by society and schools to wait their turn, raise their hand, wait in line. We're taught to be very good, compliant employees, but that same mindset is actually what's stopping your business from growing. And so we're going to get into that today. We're going to get into a couple of things of how you may be approaching your business that's actually detrimental to the growth of your business, some beliefs you may have about what it takes to run a business, and how to fix those, how to really step into your power of growing your business to the levels that you want, and to actually create the business that you love, that you're not burned out by, that you're not resentful of, and to be intentional and checking yourself. Am I doing that? Am I creating a business I love, or am I going to continue down this path and end up hating my business, hurting my body, resenting my clients, being overworked and just miserable in general because I'm trying to get some internal need met by people pleasing and whatnot. So let's dive into today's episode on mindset stuff. Okay, the first misrepresented employee mindset that I find a lot of newer business owners have, but honestly, this happens at all levels of business, whether you've been in business for 10 minutes or 10 years. I don't call the shots. This belief that somebody else is in charge of your schedule, your price point, your policies, and most of you will default to the client is the one that calls the shots. This belief that the client is always right. I don't know. I mean, I remember Nordstrom's back in the day. I don't think they have this policy anymore, but they used to return anything. You could bring a lawnmower into Nordstrom's and they'd give you store credit for it. I remember hearing crazy stories about stuff Nordstrom's has never sold, but they would take it back. It was like their no questions asked refund policy. Well, they've changed it now because people are taking advantage of it. Just like your clients will take advantage of you if you don't set healthy boundaries. And I think in a lot of ways, when we have policies that need to be enforced with clients, or we have to have a pricing conversation, or we're giving away our time because it should be a full set, but we're like, we don't know how to handle it. It's because we lack the understanding of what's in the best interest of the business and how to communicate that to a client in a way that doesn't create conflict or confrontation. And I'm gonna make an assumption here just based on the hundreds and hundreds and even thousands of lash artists and beauty business owners that I've worked with. Y'all suck at communicating. Flat out, you suck at communicating. Why? Probably because most of you are people pleasers. Most of you are too afraid to have a boundary conversation out of love and respect of what's in the best interest for the client and the business. And most of you think if you set a boundary with a client, you're risking upsetting them, when in the reality is that you are taking on the burden of not enforcing that policy. So for example, if a client continues to show up late, yes, there are exceptions that can be made as far as you can extend their appointment time, you can have shorter appointment times, but at some point, if we allow bad behavior, like not showing up to an appointment that a grown adult scheduled, It can really impact your business in the long run and affect your ability to earn income and also ruin other clients' experience. So one, client who can't get to her appointment on time, or who decides that her time getting Starbucks is far more important than you being on schedule, creates issues. It does. Maybe not that one time, maybe not the second time, but once we've conditioned them that it's okay to do it 1-2 times, then we have a problem child on our hands. So anytime that you have these policy, we'll just use policy specifically, but let's say there's a policy issue with a client. Imagine if your business was 10 times the size it is now. You had 10 times the clients, 10 times the sales, and 10 times the problems. Would how you're handling this particular situation work at that level? If you had 10x or 5x or even double the amount of clients and nuances and appointments and scheduling stuff, would it work at that level? Because most of the decisions that you're making, as these exceptions, and I don't want to confront the client, they would wreak havoc on your business if your business was bigger. This is an indicator that your business can't grow beyond the current level because you're making decisions that prevent it from growing to the next level. So if you have this mindset of I don't call the shots, or I can't call the shots, or I'm afraid to call the shots, that's what's getting in the way of you being able to handle a bigger business. You can only handle the level of business that you're currently at until you start behaving and acting and making decisions differently. And we'll say that again. You can only handle the business at the level that you're at until you start changing the way that you handle decisions and the way that you look at your business and the way that you look at your time and capacity and bandwidth in it. If what your decision is in this moment wouldn't work for 2x, 5x, or 10x the size of your business, then I suggest you make the decision that does. That's how you create a business that can grow, is when you start to make decisions that work across multiple different clients. If it's not going to work for one client, or it's only going to work for one client, it doesn't make sense to make that decision. Now, yes, you can have some humanity in there and make some of these one-off exceptions, but I always looked at, especially policies, and I wrote all of my policies. And I recommend you have an attorney review them just to make sure they're legal, because it is technically a legal document that they're signing. But for example, I have the one-time emergency policy in my policies. And I wrote that specifically because I ran into an issue with a client where she called me probably 15-20 minutes before her appointment and said, I can't make it. My parents' house flooded. They're out of town. I'm the only person who can be there right now, and I need to go let people in to save the flooring and save the walls. And my cancellation policy was like everybody else was doing in the Facebook groups. And I was like, no exceptions. And so I charged her and I lost her as a client. And in my mind, I went, I don't know if that's the win-win, because that sounded like a legit excuse, whether it was or not. But it sounded like a legit excuse. And in my mind, I'm like, okay, well, if it were me, I would want a little bit grace, and I wouldn't want to have to pay for a service I didn't provide. And I'm, if I'm handling a flood in a basement, that feels something I need to do. I also was a mom, a brand new mom at the time, and was like, if my kid got sick, I wouldn't want to be penalized for that. So where's the middle ground? Where's the boundary where I'm not just so harsh one way and so harsh the other way that I'm getting taken advantage of? So what I came up with was a one-time emergency cancellation. Now, this one-time emergency cancellation, and we go in depth on this in the Lashpreneur Society, really is the invitation to have a very healthy boundary conversation with the client. So in the one-time emergency cancellation, and I let them know this before there's ever a cancellation. So the second they have their first appointment, we go over the cancellation and we go over the policies. And I say, sometimes emergencies come up that are unavoidable and unforeseeable. That's why we have a one-time emergency cancellation. So in the event that you can't make your appointment and you need to cancel within the 24-hour cancellation policy, there will be a one-time exception made. And then this is the key part. Do not have this policy in your policies if you're not going to be very clear and do this next statement every single time. I'm so glad that we could, that's why we have the one-time emergency cancellation. Go ahead, handle what you need to handle. I just want to make it clear that from here forward, if you violate the cancellation policy again and cancel an appointment within the 24-hour cancellation period, you will be charged for the full price of the appointment, no matter what. That is the healthy communication of the expectation and the boundary moving forward, right? They've used the cancellation policy. I saved the day and didn't charge them for it one time. but that is the only time that that will happen. So now they're aware anytime in the future, they have been made very clear and been informed. And I would have this as a verbal conversation, not over text, because they can always claim they didn't read the text, but if they're on the phone with you, you know, they heard you. So that is my clarity and my permission to myself that I can charge them in the future no matter what, without feeling like, oh, do I have to make a judgment call? Is this a moral issue? I said no matter what. And what that created with my clients is either they got upset about it in the future, which means they were really upset. They agreed to something that they didn't actually want to agree to, which is on them, not on me. So they fired themselves as a client, which bye. If you don't want to take responsibility for your time, then don't take up mine. Or what ended up happening more often than not is clients would need to cancel last minute and they'd be like, go ahead and charge my card. Like, I know your policy, it's totally fine. Go ahead and charge it. That happened more often than not. Once I had that statement, I had clients who were respectful, who understood, you know, the boundaries around time and being on time or showing up to their appointment, and it was beautiful. So all of that back to the I don't call the shots belief about yourself. You do call the shots. Every result and experience you have in your business is a direct reflection of your actions, thoughts, beliefs, and the way that you've handled your business. And the sooner you can recognize where your part is in any result, desired or undesired, that's the game changer, my friends. Because you can blame clients all day long for being crazy clients and irresponsible clients and toxic clients and bitchy clients and all you want. But who let them in the business in the first place? Whose marketing attracted that person into the business? What policies did you not enforce that allowed for bad behavior to continue? You only control you. And so if you want to be empowered and grow your business with clients you love, you got to start enforcing policies so it weeds out the crazy ones. Okay. The next one, that's a common belief that I don't think is outright stated, because I think a lot of you may be embarrassed to admit this. And some of you are full on like, yep, totally true, is the belief that other people know how to run my business better than I do. And there may be some truth to that. If, you know, even if you're new to business, I think there's still some responsibility to take there. So generally how I see this look is that God bless our aunts and uncles who want to give us opinions on how they ran their businesses in the 70s. But generally speaking, most people, this is not just exclusive to our industry, but most people don't know how to run businesses. That's why most businesses shut down in the first 2 years. That's statistical proof. Most people don't know how to, they don't want to do what it takes to run a business. So the belief that anybody that's giving you business advice, and you're welcome to apply that to me too, the thought that they know what they're doing and they run my business better than me, or and this comes from clients too, I want you to check the source before we start taking guidance. And oftentimes I had this happen with clients, right? Clients would be mid-level managers in some sort of corporation, and they would give me their 2 cents on how I ran my business, or what policies were fair, or what customer service thing I should take. You can kind of see this sometimes when clients get upset about you enforcing a policy and they're like, you're running a business and this is terrible customer experience and da-da-da. You can take that as feedback, sure, and see if there's anything you want to change. But here's the thing that I often find reflects true for me when I'm seeking business advice and when I'm looking to have mentors in business. If they're not playing in the arena that I'm playing in, their opinion doesn't matter. It's Brene Brown quoting, I think, Teddy Roosevelt, her In the Arena speech. Because if a client, a friend, a family member, even another business owner does not have the business or the results that I would want, then why am I taking their advice on something they have no clue about? Now, you can take their advice and test it out and see, is there some validity to it? Is there some merit to what they're sharing? Sure, and test it out. But as far as having a go-to resource, and this will happen in the Facebook groups too. My start as the Lashpreneur got started in the Facebook groups. I found I was often answering business and marketing questions in those free Facebook groups. And I was the lone wolf in those Facebook groups sharing what I consider to be very valid, very legit information in a world of toxic, catty, dog eat dog kind of Facebook groups. And I got reamed many times by people who were threatened by what I was sharing that was counter to what they shared. I'll give you an example of, the free models, constantly doing free models to build up your clientele and working for free endlessly. While there may be benefit to that, that's not a good long-term business strategy. Getting some practice to get a consistent result, sure. Friends, family, whoever's willing to let you glue stuff on their face, all right. But as a marketing approach, I'm not a big fan. Why? Because you're building a clientele who's not going to grow with you, who's not going to pay. They're there because it's free, not because they want the result, not because they plan on investing in the future, not because they're somebody who wants to grow with you in your business. They just want free shit, right? So to some extent, I was disagreeing with a lot of that, and that was a lot of narrative that was going on back in 2016 when I started this thing. And I ruffled a lot of feathers, and bless those people for letting me see that it's okay to be different, because that actually worked out really well for me. And I don't know where they are these days. So hi, if they're still listening. So you are more than welcome to take in a bunch of information, test out what works for you and what doesn't work for you. But to some extent, we've got to stop getting a lot of input on running our business and actually start taking action to see how it plays out. It's very common, both in entrepreneurship and those who struggle with anxiety, to sit in indecision and learning mode endlessly. But a true business owner, a true CEO that has growth and success in their business is not afraid to take action. They're not there waiting for perfection. They're not there hoping the star line someday when this happens and coming up with all the excuses of why they can't move forward or try this or test that or invest in this. They take action. They take messy, imperfect action, and they have a really good relationship with failure. A very healthy student mindset around failure. Failure is never to be avoided, my friends. Failure is to be embraced and learned from. Your success is not due to the absence of failure. It is due to your ability to handle it. Fail fast and fail forward. Love that saying, because it means that, yep, we're going to fail. It's just as important for you to learn what doesn't work as it is what does work. So anything that happened in 2023 or in your past that did not work out, did you learn from it? If you didn't, then you missed the lesson, and it's going to happen again. So you might as well take action and mess up again so that you can finally learn the lesson that you needed to learn in the first place to not do that thing again that didn't get you the result. What does the Lashpreneur say? You're going to get the result you want or the lesson you need, but either way you win, because that next level of your business, that next level of growth, whether it's building a team, whether it's becoming fully booked, whether it's crossing that 6-figure mark, whether it's transitioning from a full-time job elsewhere and being full-time supported by your business, that's going to require you to learn. It's going to require you to educate yourself. And sometimes we got to go to the school of hard knocks and learn the hard way, because we won't learn any other way. I am one of those people, and God, I wish I wasn't, but I tend to learn things the hard way and the painful way. And then I teach others what not to do and what to do, because I've learned it the hard way. Thank you, human design. That is my human design. I tend to have a harder time learning things. But when I learn them, then I teach others and I help a lot of people. So there you go. All right, another belief that employees have that we need to shift in 2024 to really stepping into our power as a CEO or business owner of our beauty service business is trading my time for money is the only way I can grow. Now, to some extent, if you're a solo business owner, there is some truth to that, but it's very much an employee mindset. And when you look at your business as I am the only thing that can and will produce income, you have created a job for yourself and not actually a business. A business produces results and money, but more so important, profits, with or without you. That's the ideal. When y'all got into your business, most of you wanted some time freedom and financial freedom, and most of y'all don't have either of those. Why? Because you just created a job for yourself, and there's nothing wrong with that. If you're aware of that and you're okay with that and you just want to come in, clock in, take your clients, go home, not deal with the growth of the business, not deal with marketing, not deal with accounting, financials, customer service, all that kind of stuff, cool. Although there's probably much easier ways for you to make money than do all that and run a business as an employee. But if you want to stop trading your time for money, if you want to have time freedom, if you want to have financial freedom, if you want to have financial growth, you can't be the only one in your business forever. maybe for a season, maybe for a couple years, but at some point, I think we all kind of recognize, especially those of us jumping into our late 30s and 40s and beyond, that's a very physically demanding job. And at some point, we're pretty prone to injury, whether it's carpal tunnel, repetitive stress injuries, neck injuries, shoulder injuries, elbow, wrist, you name it, right? So at some point, y'all are going to want to decide, what is the long-term career path here? What is the long game? Now, yes, you could go into education, but I can tell you that most people think that education is spending a lot of time teaching people. I can tell you, as a full-time educator, is almost constantly marketing. Hi, this is a podcast. It's actually technically marketing in my business. Yes, there's some teaching to it, but it's all leading you to work with us. So your time as an educator is mostly going to be marketing, customer service, and then a little education, right? Because if you think about it, for most educators, they take 1 to 2 students a month, right? So you got to go find new students every single month. You have very little customer lifetime value in being an educator, the way that most beauty educators run their businesses. Yes, you could do a class. Yes, there's a lot of money that could be made, but how are you going to make that money? You got to do marketing. You got to get in front of new people to then grow and scale. Now, I happen to love marketing. I've never been afraid of marketing. It's my jam. It's my passion. So I was not afraid of that part of it. I actually teach marketing. That's how much I like it. So just have that awareness. Totally fine if that's something that you enjoy. Just know that, like, being an educator, unless you're going to work for a company to teach, there's very little of the actual education part going on. Now, when you build a team, you actually do a lot more educating and mentoring with your team long-term and over time to see the results. And you don't have to do as much marketing to acquire new hires. You just do the marketing that you're already doing, basically, to get clients in the door. So there's that option. There's e-commerce, which y'all call a product line. And there's nothing wrong with that. However, it is a large investment of funds up front to get the product. And then you got to figure out a way to get it into people's hands that are outside of your local area. If you really want to have a scalable product-based business, the game is going to trade shows, is having an e-commerce website, is running Facebook ads, Instagram ads, all of that kind of stuff to get in front of the end user. So there can be a lot of cost with that. While most people think, oh, it's passive income. Well, I have a different approach to passive income. This is a little side rant. Passive income to me, I mean, technically I have passive income. We get sales every single day, whether I'm sleeping, whether I'm awake. I'm not trading my time for money. However, I often say, like, when I'm creating a course or program, or I'm creating emails that are going to launch a program, I do like $1 million worth of work before I ever see a penny. Right? I do a lot of that unpaid work up front before we've ever created the program for people to buy, and then we got to get people to buy it. So to some extent, sure, the money's coming ongoing, but a lot of that work is done before there's any sale generated. Okay, so trading my time for money is the only way I can grow. There's also something to be said about getting support on the things that are very time consuming. Now, I'm never a fan of outsourcing things as a means of trying to fix a problem other than you getting your time back. So if you hate social media marketing, I've seen this done way too many times. People hate social media. They don't want to be on social media. They don't understand social media. They don't bother to learn it. So they just pay an exorbitant amount for a social media agency, person, whatever, to take over their social media. Yet they're still not getting any better or different results when somebody does that. So now they're spending a lot of money out without getting any return on investment in. So there's really no benefits or growth that happens from that investment. And being able to evaluate expenses in your business to look at where's a return on investment, I would say that most business owners in our industry have to learn this the hard way, that they spend a lot of money that never turns into any sort of results or growth in their business. If you're intentional about making profit and data-based decisions, you can curb that learning curve very quickly. And that's what we focus on in our programs, is the profit-based decision making. But you know, I definitely went down that path. That's part of the reason why I shut down the business in 2021, is it was just emotionally taking too much out of me. And I didn't have guidelines and look at how to make this, or even to understand what decisions the business needed. Now that I've switched over to data and profit-based decisions, the business very clearly tells me what it needs. And then it's my work to do of, like, if there's resistance to that decision, that's where I get a coach. And that's where I get support to work me through that, because it's me becoming the block of what the business needs. The business speaks a very specific language in financials and profit. And if you don't know how to listen to that language or read that language, then you're going to be making a lot of costly mistakes. And hopefully you're learning from them as you go. One that I had for a long time, And there's still moments when I have this this belief that someone else will swoop in and save the day. Wouldn't that be nice? I mean, that's such an employee mindset thing of like, the manager will fix it, the boss will fix it, and then you get to be a business owner, you're like, shoot, it's me. There's nobody coming. You know, there's always going to be problems in your business. Ooh, hate to break it to you. Sorry. There will always be problems in your business. Your growth as a business owner will be that you will be able to handle them way better and not have them tank you and actually come up with pretty cool solutions. Even being a business owner, think about it. You're creating something from nothing. Yeah, you may be doing the same service as like 50 other people in your area, but you have created something from nothing. That business didn't exist until it was an idea in your head and then you made it come to life. You've got the ability to problem solve, my friend. You just may not have the wherewithal, the resources, or even the understanding of how to go find the solution. That's why having a coach or support helps. And again, that's going to go back to making sure that you're testing and kind of testing the merit of the advice that you get. But it can be really amazing to have support, whether it's fellow business owners, whether it's coaching programs, whether it's your own coach, books, do your research, taking a course, understanding how to make decisions in a business. And this is why database decision making and profit-based decisions made my decisions much simpler. Do the thing that increases the profits. Do the things that get the business to grow. Now I want to put a little asterisk with that. There may be decisions that you make in the business that decline the profit, but for good reason. So when it comes to like our salons that are building teams, we have certain benchmark percentages of cost of goods sold, their labor costs, their operating expenses, and their profit margins that we work to get them when they first join our programs. And once they reach those milestones, then we actually want to keep them in those boundaries. So as an example, one of the things, one of the profit goals that we work our salon members to is getting to 20 to 30% profit. And when they've reached that, then we have really fun conversations, because it may be that they're making great money. They've got a very lean business and they are just pumping out profit. We love that. And at some point we may say, hey, you're at 25% profit. Now you could grow sales and increase your profitability, or we could, minimize this expense or cut back on this to increase profit. Or you can take that excess profit and start giving your team members mental health days, right? That's where money can go. We can invest back into the team. We can invest in a second location. We can put aside money for savings for a rainy day, for a upgraded service, for a new machine. There's a whole bunch of different things that when you have excess coming in by way of profit, that you get to have a little more fun play money. But we don't have the play money until we run a lean business that gets the profit and produces it consistently. So this idea that somebody else is going to swoop in and save you, while us being damsels in distress sounds amazing, you're a business owner and this is what you signed up for. Nobody's coming in to save you. You're there to save you. You have every ability to be able to creatively problem solve. You just may need help getting there. And that's fine too. I think that's been my biggest lesson in 2023 is I need to ask for help. This whole I'll figure it out, I'll do it on my own, while sounds great in theory for us, empowered women. I might beg the question as to why do we think we need to do it all our own? While yes, we're responsible for the results in the business, doesn't mean that we can't get support and help to do things that are hard, right? Running a business can be very hard. It can be very taxing. It can challenge you. And that's kind of also the addictive quality of being a business owner, is that it's always different. There's always new challenges. And for me, I've really learned to love the journey of entrepreneurship when I stopped going, I'm going to shut it down every 5 minutes. I entertained that idea. I shut it down. Came back 4 months later, never considered shutting it down again. Just have considered pivoting and switching, but I can't go be an employee for somebody. Are you kidding me? Do you know how defiant I would be? Anyways, okay. So the last thing I want you to take away from this, and maybe your mantra for 2024, is this one statement: if I don't know it, I can't grow it. That's a really catchy saying. If I don't know it, I can't grow it. And a lot of business owners will just stop at, if I don't know it, oh well, right? If I don't know it, guess it's not happening. If I don't know it, I can't grow it. And when we look at all of the other beliefs of what we want to accomplish with our business, what our business is supposed to be in our life, how our business is supposed to serve us and the greater community of our area, of the women that come into our businesses, whether by way of teams, by way of clients. I'd say that there's a good responsibility there to learn it. There is no reason why you cannot learn how to have the business that you want. No reason. You learned how to listen to a podcast. You learned how to implement some of the things that you've learned and be able to get to this point in your business. You learned how to get a business started. You can, in fact, learn how to grow your business to that next level. And just because you don't know it now doesn't mean that you can't learn it. If y'all think I was born knowing how to create spreadsheets that I then share with dozens of our mastermind clients that changes how they run their business, y'all are mistaken. I had every belief in the world that I suck with money and that I am not good at money. My dad has overcomplicated finances my entire life. So my belief growing up was that if I don't know how to overcomplicate it and make it super tricky like he does, then I'm not good at it. Because I still don't, when that man goes, he has left such a freaking headache for me to try and figure out where his money is and all this kind of stuff. Like he overcomplicates everything. And it is hereditary. I do overcomplicate things. I will admit that. Because I was raised with it. It's a learned behavior. It's a learned skill. Running a business is learned. It is not inherent. Anybody that you see that has the success or the business that you want, they freaking learned it, and you can too. So your mantra, should you choose to take this on for 2024, is if I don't know it, I can't grow it. That's a problem to solve for, so I'm going to learn it. So if you want to learn how to grow a business better, faster, and easier, I've got all kinds of opportunities for you. We've got our Lashpreneur Society program. That is for you solo business owners looking to go from overlooked to fully booked. We heavily focus on marketing and business foundations, meaning client management, policies, scheduling, pricing, the basics of accounting and financials, and tracking your info. If you know nothing about how to pay yourself, how to make data or profit-based decisions, we have a course called Know Your Numbers. That is going to help you learn what numbers to track, how to increase profits, which is your owner's pay, and how to make decisions based off of data and profits. If you want to learn how to hire your first or your next profit producing team member, if you're ready to build out a team, we have a program called Society Accelerator. In the Accelerator, we teach you the financials of what it looks like to hire somebody profitably at a fair and competitive wage, how to source and hire amazing candidates at an hourly rate that are legally employed, none of this independent contractor stuff. And we teach you how to train and onboard that team member over a period of 90 days to get them to producing the results and the experience that you can do, so that now you have another person that's producing sales and profit in the business for you to then stop trading your time for money. If you already have at least one W-2 team member and you've done at least $100,000 in 2023 in sales, that's US, then the mastermind, our Momentum Mastermind, is likely a great option for you. That is where we grow and scale salons and teams to multiple 6 and 7 figures, where we talk about heavily in how to manage people, how to have process-based businesses, how to have disciplined conversations, how to have performance-based incentives, marketing at scale, meaning how do we create processes that create marketing that bring dozens, if not hundreds of new leads into the business each and every month, how to have consistency, how to outsource, how to delegate. And most importantly, in every single program we do, we focus on your mind, the thing between your ears, because you can have all of the step-by-step knowledge in the world and still not take action, and still be waiting for perfection, and still be waiting for somebody else to come in and save the day, and still be waiting for somebody to tell you what to do to make it better, to save you, to come in and just do it for you. But the reality is that you are absolutely capable of doing it. There's no reason why you can't have the business that you want. You just need to actually start moving in that direction and start taking action and learn along the way. So as we head into 2024, my wish for you is lots of success, lots of growth, but more importantly, lots of lessons that are going to serve you for a lifetime. Now, just as a heads up, coming up at the end of the month, starting on January 29th, I will be having my Build a Team, Live Your Dream Masterclass, totally free class, about an hour, hour and a half long. We've got 3 class times coming up. We open up registration next week, so I'll be talking about it next week on the podcast. But that is going to be a great class if you're interested in hiring a team or you have a team and it's just not going well.